Welcome back to my views on news. Three news stories. First one is about Tigray, where long queues are being seen. We have received pictures from Makale and a video clip from Shire. What are these long queues about? And secondly, EU special envoy to the Horn of Africa is back in Ethiopia. The lady was in Ethiopia a few weeks ago. Now she is back in Addis Ababa, and yesterday some meetings were held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital, between EU's special envoy and Demake Mekonnen and Ethiopian finance minister. What does Ethiopia want from EU and what does EU want from Ethiopia? We have details of these meetings for you. Thirdly, viewers, Vallega Amharic media is showing interviews of IDPs who have been displaced from Vallega. And some of them are demanding creation of Amhara special zone in Vallega. Like there is Oromia special zone in Amhara region of Ethiopia. How doable is this demand? Is it a solution to the ongoing problem in Vallega? Firstly, viewers, Tigray, where long queues of people are being seen in some cities. Firstly, Makale, where petrol stations have been reopened because Tigray is receiving fuel now. And some petrol stations in Makale, Tigray's capital, are starting to sell fuel to vehicles. And yesterday, long queues of vehicles were seen outside these petrol stations. So you can see some pictures on your screen. So while delivery of fuel to Tigray is starting, it's still a long way to go. Tigray's roads have been deserted. No vehicles. Largely, we saw people going to their destinations on foot. But gradually, fuel supplies to Tigray are improving. But a lot needs to be done because in Makale, just a few petrol stations have been reopened. Several are still closed. Secondly, Shire city. We have a clip for you from Shire city where long queues of people can be seen outside offices of mobile service providers. The people seen in the clip are there lining up to buy SIMs, because mobile networks have been restored in some parts of Tigray. But SIMs being used by people 2 years ago, they've been blocked. Now new SIMs are being issued. So that is why long queues are being seen outside these mobile companies' offices, especially in Shire. At least people are able to connect with their loved ones, though it takes hours for these customers to purchase SIMs, but they'll have to face this difficulty because thousands are lining up to buy mobile SIMs, mobile cards in different areas of Tigray. Watch the clip from Shire showing people lining up outside the office of a mobile service provider. Secondly, was EU special envoy is back in Ethiopia. This is her second visit of Ethiopia after the signing of the Pretoria Agreement. Annette Weber met with Demake Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa yesterday. Then she held a meeting with the Ethiopian finance delegation led by Ethiopian finance minister. What are these meetings about? The second visit of EU special envoy, because EU was kept out of talks which resulted in Pretoria Agreement, because EU's officials like Joseph Borrell were very vocal in their criticism of Ethiopian and Eritrean governments. That is why African Union and Ethiopian government, they did not make EU part of negotiations. EU is trying to repair its fractious ties with Ethiopia. That is why second visit of Annette Weber to Ethiopia. What happened at the meeting between Damak McConnell and Weber? Reportedly, Damak McConnell at the meeting with Annette Weber asked EU that EU must not push for extension in the mandate of UN Inquiry Commission, which is investigating human rights abuses committed during the Tigray conflict since November 2020. The commission's formation was opposed by Ethiopian government. Its mandate extension was opposed as well a few months ago, and its budget approval was also opposed by Ethiopian government. Ethiopian government tried to defund this commission, but the commission could not be defunded. Now, reportedly in March, commission's term mandate will expire, and EU, US, they have been supporting extension in the mandate of the commission, and now Ethiopian government, which is ready to give more access to EU in Ethiopia, in Tigray, wants from EU in return a commitment that EU will not push for extension in the mandate of UN Inquiry Commission in March. So let's see what EU does. Secondly, this month EU Foreign Affairs Council is going to meet, where issue of resumption of direct financial aid to Ethiopia will come under discussions. Ethiopian economy is in dire need of direct financial aid, but last year in 2021, EU suspended direct financial aid for Ethiopia. So this month we could see an announcement regarding resumption or otherwise of direct financial aid for Ethiopian government from EU. EU has announced to support the implementation of peace deal financially, because reintegration of Tigray fighters requires money. EU is interested in rebuilding war-affected areas in Tigray, in Amhara, far regions too. EU currently is interested in privatization of state assets by Ethiopian government. So EU has business interests, it has strategic interests as well. It wants to keep Russian and Chinese influence in the Horn of Africa, in Ethiopia, in check. So that is why. Let's see what EU does regarding Damak McConnell's request that the EU should not support extension of UN Inquiry Commission's mandate. Lastly, we have stock of Amhara, creation of Amhara special zone in Oromia is being heard. Valega is home to both ethnic Amharas and Oromos, especially in border areas of Valega, Amhara. There is large number of ethnic Amharas there. There is Oromia special zone in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. Now, the Valega IDPs displaced from Valega into Amhara, some of them are being interviewed by Amharic news sources, and they are suggesting that Oromia region should agree to creation of Amhara special zone in Valega, because Oromia regional government is unable to protect the people of Valega, ethnic Amharas living in Valega. How doable is this solution? Firstly, federal government is against creation of new territories, new states along ethnic lines. Wolaitas, Gurages are protesting, but federal government is not agreeing to creation of a separate Wolaita state or a separate Gurage state. And secondly, this solution will never be acceptable to Oromia regional government. Having said that, Oromia regional government then should ensure the protection of Amharas living in Valaga. It's the responsibility of Oromia regional government. Oromia regional government claims that outside forces, external forces are intervening. They are interfering in Oromia and they are arming ethnic Amhara. So there is complexity, there are complex issues in Valaga. And demand for creation of Amhara special zone in Valaga, in Oromia, indicates that the issue needs a broad consultation for resolution. Only an operation against OLA cannot resolve this issue. Even if there is no OLA in Valaga, the issue won't be resolved. What is needed is some comprehensive approach, which has not been seen so far. Thank you for watching.